Hello, St. Francis of Assisi Parish. I have to admit, I'm at a bit of an unfair advantage because you can just skip this video, go to the next one, click out of it. You can't do that at church. You have to listen to me. I guess you cannot listen to me, but you can't. You're stuck here. So, today we are digging into the third week of the Eyewitness series, looking at these two great figures of the pedestrians on the way to Emmaus. These two folks. We know one of their names is Clopas. Maybe the other one is his wife. We don't really know. But the story gives us a great image of what our journey of faith is. Really, this reading can sum up really all of our Christian life. We hear about these two disciples on Sunday morning. We hear the first day of the week on Easter morning, going the opposite direction. They should be headed to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is where everything is happening. It's where the disciples are. It's where the crucifixion happened. It's where the resurrection happens. This is where they should be. And yet they're going the opposite way. They have turned away from Jerusalem. And it a bit reminds me of that scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where they're driving down the road and they're going the wrong direction on the interstate and someone else is saying, "You're going the wrong way," right? That's kind of what I feel like we should be saying to these disciples on the road to Emmaus. They're going the wrong way. They should be going to Jerusalem. They've turned around and they're going in the opposite direction. Luke points out to us that the first name for those who followed Christ were people of the way, people who followed the way of the cross, people who lived their life in a different way of servant leadership, of selflessly loving. So these two disciples are all of us and those different points in our life where we walk away. And we might walk away for lots of different reasons. We walk away because we don't understand. We walk away maybe because we don't find inspiration there. We walk away for various reasons. And a lot of times when we walk away from the faith, we don't wave big banners saying, "I'm leaving," right? We just kind of fade away. We just kind of fade into the background. I'm sure you can think of people or maybe yourself at different points in your life where you just sort of wandered away. Maybe it was intentional, maybe not. But what's amazing is here we have these two disciples who are on the way. They're going the wrong direction to this town called Emmaus. And Jesus shows up. He's there with them. They don't recognize him. Jesus doesn't come down like you might expect him after the resurrection with smoke and saying, "Hello everybody, this is the risen Jesus, put your hands together." No, he just shows up, hidden, right? In just this quiet way, kind of that great reminder to us that God is always the one who initiates the relationship. God seeks us out. As the words of Amazing Grace go, "I once was lost, but now I'm found." God has found us. God seeks us out. And we're invited to respond to that. So we hear in the story, they are walking along the way, Christ appears to them, and then we hear, really the story is the story of what happens at Mass. Christ walks among us. They say, "Hey, this guy showed this. We thought Jesus was going to rise, but he said he rose from the dead, but we don't understand." And so Jesus walks with them through the Old Testament prophets. We hear how Jesus walks with them through that whole story of God's salvation. That had to have been the world's awesomest Bible study. Here's Jesus walking with them, explaining to them everything that pointed to him. Just as we in the Mass walk through the Old Testament and read it in light of the gospel, how it's paired with the gospel, to show how it all points to Christ, how it all points back to him. So as he walks with them, this decisive moment happens. After he opens up the word to them, he explains it to them. He gives the impression that he's going to go on farther, but they say, "No, stay with us." They invite him in. They say, "No, we want you with us. We want to learn more. We're hungry for more." And so we hear that as he is at table with them, he breaks bread, and then they recognize him, and he disappears. It seems kind of bizarre that he would just disappear. Why would he do that? Because he's now present in the bread. Now he is present to them in the Eucharist. He is right there with them. They don't need him physically there because he's right there. So too for us as Catholics, we believe that Christ is present in the host. That's why during these days we've been having adoration throughout the day, so that we can at least encounter Christ in that way, even though we can't receive him. And so notice what happens. They've walked away from Christ, they've walked away from Jerusalem, and this experience of encountering the risen Christ in the Eucharist helps them to change direction, to get back on track, to run back to Jerusalem, to be witnesses to the apostles, to be messengers to the apostles. So what does this story mean for us this weekend? Well, it's said that this is Cleopas and another disciple. We don't know who they are. If they were both men, if they were man and woman, maybe they're husband and wife. It's a great image for marriage and what marriage is like. And during these days, I think have been an invitation for us to think about, have I wandered away? Have I turned away from my faith? Maybe not in huge ways, but in subtle ways. Is Christ inviting me now to return back to him? To return back to the way? To return to the way of the cross? The way things should be?